Welcome to the show, Proof of Work. I'm your host, Gerald Vada, aka Jerry V, the Crypto Oracle. Nick is my co-host and my producer. Welcome to today's episode. It is Bitcoin is the revolution. Obviously, we want to get our sponsors out of the way. Oh, and it is. We want to thank Quantum Expeditions. If you're not familiar with Quantum Expeditions, they are doing methane flare mining and starting to learn. And I was one of the first people, and Daniel Batten, obviously we're going to talk about him in a minute, were the first people to start saying that, Bitcoin is the energy revolution, how to utilize Bitcoin mining operations to get cheaper energy or a cheaper energy source and get your cost to Bitcoin ratio down. You're not going to survive long term. And that's one of the things they figured out, right? They can go find these oil fields where there's methane flare all over the place because it's Texas, right? Let's be clear, and cop this, right? A couple episodes ago, we talked about wasted energy is somewhere between mines will be blown $5 to $10 trillion, right? That's a huge amount of money that's literally just thrown into the world, whether it's hydroelectric, right? I was just talking in the last spaces. It's Paraguay at like 1 a.m. in the morning. Well, guess what? Most people's lights are off. Most people's heat's turned down. So the hydroelectric dams are producing all this electric power. And guess what? They can divert some of that at, all these off-hour peak times and be mining Bitcoin. And guess what? Paraguay is doing that right now. They actually are like close to 10% of the mining power. Obviously, let's not get off on a tangent. We're talking about our sponsors, but that's what Quantum Expeditions is doing with the methane flare that they're doing in West Texas. Anyway, let's get to Shieldfolio. Shieldfolio protects your seed phrases. Obviously, if you understand and you've been in crypto for a minute, this is a good way to protect your seed phrase. It's better than just writing it down old school, but that's what I tell people. Don't take pictures. There was a guy that just did this, right? He just shared a seed phrase by accident the other day, and somebody drained 10K from his wallet within 5 minutes of him just flashing his seed phrase. Luckily, he figured this out and transferred all his funds into another wallet, but he did lose 10,000 in his money. So don't take pictures of your seed phrases. If you're going to do it, make sure it's in a device that's not connected to the web and you have it air gapped, right? So it's an old tablet that you sometimes play, one of those casual games on, sure, but always do it. Use something like Shieldfolio. It's way safe for your seed phrase. It's written in obviously it's a fluorescent light ink, so it's like an invisible ink, can only be viewed under invisible lighting. So if somebody just opens it up, they see a blank page, right? So that's very important. It's waterproof and tear resistant. And again, they're coming out with a fireproof one. And when that comes out, yes, me and Nick will both are like, take our money, damn it. And let's thank Deorganized Media.
Wait. You get 20% discount.
Yeah, don't forget. Yes, there is the QR code. Yes, there it is. That's the code right there. Put that in there. If you see the discount code at the cart, % off. Now let's thank Deorganized Media and everyone at Bitcoin Live. Thank you. And welcome to today's show, which is Bitcoin is the revolution. It is low. All the people I've seen complaining. Me and Nick have been talking about all these evil people, the 1%ers that do these things. And you have to realize all of these people are not pure evil, right? Some of these celebrities, some of these people, they use extortion, right? Some of it's violent extortion, right? Like they show them pictures of their family, right? So they get them to do these evil things. But not all of them are extorted this way. Yes, some of these people are pure evil. Let's be very clear. If you don't want these people to be in power anymore, you should be stacking sats, right? Because this takes their money printer power away, right? But let's get into it. I think, hold on, I thought I had my tabs pulled up, but I didn't. I think this one right here. Yes. So the first one is we're looking at this Daniel Batten tweet, and yes, this is you know, our, who is it? He's our Treasury Secretary, Tim Besant, I think his name is. But he's telling speaking the quiet part out loud, right? He's telling people that yes, the dollar has been weaponized for some time, and it is causing their currency to collapse. And this isn't the only example, right? The United States. Let's talk about this for a couple minutes. Right? All capital goods. It's not just oil. Like, people don't realize it's not just the petrodollar, right? This is gold. This is aluminum. This is steel. This is oil. This is platinum. This is silver. All of these assets, when they're traded globally, they've been traded in dollars. And this, you know, people just talk about the oil part, and that's why BRICS are trying to shift away from the petrodollar. No, it's most capital goods, right? So it's also wheat, it's also cotton, right? Hello, these are a lot of capital goods that the most of the world, if they're transferring their money into US dollars and their money is going like this, it takes more and more and more. And if they owe us money, it's a double indemnity, a death spiral for that country. And that's what we're seeing happening right now in Iran, right? And the people have ever to be upset. And again, the media is silent, because they don't want to talk about what's really happening in the world. And that's that the Iranian people are sick of being oppressed, and they're sick of this BS, and they're sick of their money being so deflated that when they try and feed their family, it's impossible. So Bitcoin, everyone in Iran, you should be figuring out how to stack Satoshis, not their fancy CBDC, right? That's the next couple things we're going to talk about. But let's get to Daniel's next tweet here, because we have to talk about Aunt Jemima. Sorry, I had to call her that just because her name's Jemima. Sorry, it's like every time I say her name, I think of the the pancake. It's in a huge American pancake company out in our neck of the woods. So no offense to anybody, but it's just hilarious because she thinks she's like the first person on the planet that has come up with this theory, right? And let me be clear, Jemima, the Financial Times is trying to get you fired, right? Like, let's be very clear. The only person, like I said, out of all of these analysts who's been wrong about Bitcoin time and time and time and time and time again, Peter Schiff's the only one that keeps popping up, like, the whack-a-mole game that you play, right? But let me be clear. Where's Rabini? Nobody talks about Rabini anymore. The last guy who was on Joe Rogan, what was his name? Shahan, right? Peter Shahan. Where are you at, dude? Nobody talks about you. Ben Foster, the actor. Yeah, it's going to zero. No use case anymore, bro. So the list is endless of people who said these things that she's saying. It has no use case. It's $69,000 too high. You're to say this. They don't like you. They want you to be ridiculed in the cryptoverse, and that's exactly what's happening, because you're not the first person to say these things. You won't be the last person. But your upward trajectory is about to peak, and you're about to be on the other side of the chart. I'm just warning you. That's what this is really about. The Financial Times, for some reason, doesn't like you, and they want you off their payroll. Anyway, back to the revolution. And this is it right here. And this is this next tweet from somebody called System Controlled. And it is literally, why isn't it pulling up the next one? Like I'm right here.
By the way, I'm not sure, but it kind of seems that we're not streaming on X for some reason, so I'm not sure what's going on there.
It stopped?
No, I mean, it says it's streaming, but I can't find it on X.
Oh, there I go. I got it. For some reason, it was not sharing that tab,
Right.
but okay, I got it back. But this is, I guess, just from a few days ago, like, yeah, just a couple of days ago. And this is Ray Dalio talking with Tucker Carlson. And again, we've talked about this ad nauseum, right? China already has theirs. They've already utilized it to stop people from protesting a few years ago. I think it was 2022 or 2023. They're going to protest the banks. And guess what they do? They found out going through all of their social media, which they had access to, and they went, click, all your train passes are shut down because oopsies, we don't like that you're going to go protest these banks that are failing and making your life miserable. Anyway, let's play the clip of Ray Dalio explaining that CBDCs are coming to Tucker.
What happens if the government issues digital currency? Like, what does that mean?
Well, digital currency is, right, you're talking about central bank digital currencies.
Yeah.
Okay, and that. There's a great deal of appeal because of the fact that it's easy and so on. But it's, and I think it'll be done. A lot happens.
You think it will be done?
Yeah, I think it's, but what happens in the digital currency, of course, it's easy to transact and so on, and it'll be like money market funds, I think. The question will be first, will they be able to offer interest? So there's a debate now as to whether they will be interest. If they're not able to offer interest, and there will be a debate, probably they won't be, but then they're not an effective vehicle to hold it in because you'll have the depreciation.
Of course.
You'd rather hold it in a money market fund or a bond, but that's debate. There will be no privacy, and it's a very effective controlling mechanism by the government. What I mean is all the transactions will be known. All transactions done with digital currencies will be known, which is good for illegal activities, getting control of illegal activities. But it also means that the government has a great deal of control. For example, they can tax that way. They can take your money. They can establish foreign exchange controls and the like. And so that's something that will be an increasing issue, particularly for international holders of that currency, because they might feel, let's say, if you're a Frenchman and they wanted to have sanctions, they could take your money.
Well, of course.
You know, and so on. So there's the privacy issue of that. And
if you're politically disfavored, you could be shut off.
Politically disfavored, you could be shut off, yes. So those kinds of, right?
And yeah, and literally we were just talking about that, right? That's exactly what happened. And China continues to do this, right? We shared this probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 episodes ago, where there's a huge new homeless population that is forming because China is shutting down these people's lives, right? Like it's Black Mirror, and they're literally shutting down access to social media, access to their WhatsApp, which is their wallet, so they can't pay for anything. And they're now locked out of living because they are digital, casualties of a digital attack, right? Yeah. You're shutting down their whole lives on the back end. And now these people can't get a job. They can't pay for anything. And now they're living on the streets. Like, does anyone understand why it's so important that you have these in a cold storage wallet, right? Get to point 1, 0.25. And again, you will be a part of the new 1% that we're building, right? And we're much more giving than these 1%ers are, because I've been homeless for only a few days or a week or so, but it sucks, right? I don't want that to be anybody. Anytime I see somebody in need and I have extra, that's why I tell people, like, paper money, it's paper money. Give it away, right? If you got an extra €5, you got an extra $5. it can change somebody's life trajectory, right? Some of them aren't going to use it for a good thing, but somebody's getting some water, somebody's buying a meal,
Yeah.
and it could save their life.
But I also think, just to tie in with the CBDCs, because some people who travel to China, they say like, oh, what a beautiful, harmonious, high-tech society, and how is it that everybody's so happy and content? But all the malcontents are filtered out automatically through a CBDC system, so you don't see them because they don't get around. So you only see the happy people, or the people who are supposedly happy, because you can't be unhappy because otherwise you are filtered out. So I think that's very important for people to realize.
And the government, and the government tells those tech companies, if you don't add these to your algos, these features where you're filtering out the negative content, yes, everything looks like shiny, happy people, and you don't see any of the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? That's just the this is where we get to the simulation concepts. You're seeing a curated simulation, right?
And the humanity gets drained away. And I think also the other thing is like what Ray Dalio is referring to or alluding to is, you can actually turn off your political opposition, right? I mean, it's sort of, I keep saying it, but it's the death of politics, because you don't have to compromise anymore. If you control the levers of power, you can just turn off all opposition, even before it starts, or before people organize, or even if you connect it to a drone system, and the rest of the digital prison system, you can just snuff out any opposition before they even become aware that they want to oppose.
Yeah, exactly. Like exactly what we just said. They saw all these people were posting about going to protest this these banks, probably through their WhatsApp account, right? Like, which why I say, another Zuckware. It's not safe, y'all. It's like some of the most spyware tools are Zuckware, right? So that's Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and I thought there was something else out there. Oh yeah, even though he doesn't own Snapchat, Snapchat is very friendly with law enforcement. And again, there's pros and cons to that. Obviously, if something bad happens to your child, or something's happening bad, like with, evil people doing things in the streets, which we've seen time and time again. Yes, I get when they need access, but they have access to everything, as we know from Snowden and years of NSA and CIA and MI6 and the like, Mossad, etc., all spying on each other all across the world. Everyone's spying on everyone. And it's, this is why Bitcoin is the revolution, right? The more we get focused on Bitcoin, the less resources and assets become, really, we start to have to think about them. They become more and more important. And we're going to not divert it to these, to DARPA as much, even though there'll still be a budget for DARPA, their budget's going to shrink, and military budget will shrink, right? The guy, CEO of Anduril, right? The guy, that young guy that started that bank, the crypto bank with Peter Thiel, Erebor. He just said this the other day, we're spending way too much on the military budget. And he's right. I used to work, I have firsthand experience in the military contracting. My dad was a defense contractor for a little while. And like, we would put these parts into so one of our first contracts was building a kit for the M1 Abrams tank, right? This isn't like classified stuff that I'm telling you, but some of these things we'd have to put like in a plastic bag, and then that bag would have to like have this foam wrapper on it. Then that foam wrapper went into a cardboard insert. Then that cardboard insert went to another box, and then that box went into another box. And it was just like, whoa. And then some of these parts, like, these little teeny parts would cost like, like $60,000. And it's like, what? Like, yeah, it's insane. So we do spend a lot of excess in our defense budgets. This is just a fact. And what will happen is we stop allocating those resources towards that. We start realizing, like I've been saying for years, we developed the Bitcoin Mining Authority, and they keep finding all this wasted energy or these projects that, like I said, from dumps to solar fields to wind farms to hydroelectric dams to wherever. And the government is now making Bitcoin out of every so many X ASICs that they decide to contract with the local municipality. The local municipality gets like 80 to 90% of that Bitcoin, and then a couple of ASICs are reserved for government use, and that PPS goes to the government. If we do that, we have this super fluid economy that it becomes like El Salvador, right? El Salvador just has a hand, they have a decent mining operation. Well, the United States is huge.
Yeah.
We have wasted energy everywhere, especially if we just look at dumps, right? We talked about this a couple episodes ago. Dumps start to form, and like they layer them like lasagna, and then eventually we get to summertime, and then the summertime they bake, and that lasagna starts to release that methane, and then we can cap it, turn it into power, hook up ASICs again. This is just
and get rid of it, right?
And we're not releasing that methane back into the environment, which is like one of the worst pollutants that we can put into our air. Let's get to this clip.
But can I add one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, of course.
Like, because Bitcoin, as each individual also starts owning more and more sats in Bitcoin, it also, decreases the leverage society or governments have over those individuals, right? So it also sort of decollectivizes people and detoxifies societies, right? So that's sort of the flip side of what you said. But yeah, I totally agree.
But yeah, again, this is how revolutionary it is, right? All these people who think they're eco-activists and talk smack against Bitcoin. No, you are buying into the FUD that's been around for 5-10 years. And this is all baloney. Bitcoin searches for the best, cheapest energy. And it doesn't care who's the winner is. If it's wind, solar, hydro, doesn't care. But guess what? Why do you think Mara has bought that huge contract with T. Boone Pickens' huge wind farm in West Texas? Because they're searching for the cheaper kilowatt to Bitcoin ratio, and they're going, oh, wind. Do you see what's going on, right? And then they bought what? They bought all these Canaan miners. Oh, hello. I tell people not financial advice, but I just looked at Canaan's P&L report the other day, and yeah, not bad. Oh, shocker. And guess what? This is after they dumped their all their AI projects, right? Because they were just hemorrhaging money. And like I said, I'm not anti-AI. I just think we have peaked, right? The Super Bowl kind of proved that the bubbles popped, right? Every other commercial in the Super Bowl was AI or AI generated, right? Literally, the Jurassic Park one, every single effing one, probably even the Coinbase one that was just a song and some lyrics and then Coinbase at the end, which a lot of people hated. Even though I'm not a huge Coinbase fan, they still sell Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
You should not be booing. They've got your mind messed up, right? They've got you fiat slaves. And that's what we just talked about. The CBDC will be 1,000,000 times worse than even cash money, right? And cash money is 1,000-year-old technology, people.
Yeah, and I think it also has to do with the definition of money, right? What is money? And I think, at the moment we have more like credit. But when CBDCs enter the space, it will basically be the death of money, because then you just have like points as in a game. Only it's not a fair game because, the empire at the top controls all the rules and has free piles, sort of like.
Yeah. Let's get to this clip with CZ and Chamath. And I'm going to agree with somewhat things of what they say, but I'm not going to agree with everything they're going to say. So let's just get to it and check it out, and then we'll talk about it real quick.
Privacy in crypto. One of the things that I struggle with If you ask me, am I a Bitcoin maximalist? I would say no. Even though I was early, I think my biggest issue with it is that there's a lack of fungibility, which I think is problematic to get to mega scale. And then there's a lack of privacy.
I agree.
It's probably the biggest thing that will hold Bitcoin back from being ubiquitous. Where does privacy play as the world evolves, as you see it?
I think privacy plays a very fundamental role in our society. But right now, as you said, I also think that Bitcoin and most cryptocurrencies do not have enough privacy features.
Yeah.
I think when Bitcoin was designed, it was going to be pseudo-anonymous. But the fact is, every transaction on the blockchain you can trace, especially now you have a centralized exchange with KYC.
Exactly.
And, if you have it's actually very easy.
And by the way, we go always back to the same argument, which is it always goes back to the corner case of, well, somebody's using this for something illicit. And I say, there are those use cases, but the overwhelming majority is you buy a pack of gum, but tomorrow you may buy, you may want to buy a certain movie or a video game. You may want to buy a cigarette. And it's not for me to judge.
Yeah.
And dollars are fungible in that sense. There's complete anonymity. We have no idea about what it was used before that I got my hands on it.
Yeah. Well, there are actually real applications where privacy is extremely important. If you book a certain hotel and people know that hotel address, like blockchain hotel address, the receiving address, they will know that you will be in that hotel.
That's right.
That's a physical security for you.
That's right.
Right. So there are real use cases where privacy is very important. This is why people don't publicize their home addresses online.
That's right.
In many countries, if you review somebody in Japan, if you review somebody's home address, that's illegal. Right. So there are real use cases for privacy, which Bitcoin, most cryptocurrencies currently do not provide.
Yeah.
So we've talked about this time and time again on the show. Many things I agree with Chamath and CZ, many things I don't, right? If you're using Bitcoin through the Liquid network, right? If you're using the Liquid Tether network, or if you're using their Lightning network, those transactions are all obfuscated, right? So people can't just track them back to your wallet and find you. They can't do it. So they're misspoken. Even if you're using the Lightning network, if it's a peer-to-peer Lightning transaction, these are very private and secure. Also, this is why I talk ad nauseum about Litecoin, and it's on a super discount, just like Bitcoin right now. You can take, let's say you wanted to pay me $25 for, I don't know, some bet we had about the Super Bowl or something. You can take a Litecoin, take 25, half that Litecoin, convert it into Wimble dollars, and it's just like me handing you cash, right? Nobody knows where that transaction came from. It's just like me handing dollars for me to you, but it's digitally. And more people will start to do this, right? Monero is totally a P2P transaction, even though I'm a smart guy and I'm pretty sure you could design a filter to filter out all the phony addresses and get to a Monero address. It's still way ahead of the pack when it comes to ring signatures and their cryptography. So I always tell Monero, even Decred has some privacy features. Even Dash, if you turn on the Dash, and Zcash, this is why these things are pumping. And I think, most of the people who are in the privacy world haven't realized that this can be done on Litecoin. And this is why Litecoin has been suffering in this privacy move to privacy that we have seen. And this is another reason I'm very bullish, because we're getting back to the money finding utility coins, right? And right now the hot utility is privacy.
Which also has to do with the CBDCs, right?
Say that again?
It also has to do with the CBDCs, the rise of the CBDCs, so.
Oh, yeah, of course. You don't want to be holding, again, I think I will use some USDT, USAT, USDC, whatever it is. I will have to use it at some point in the future to go buy groceries. And I will have a bank account that has so many of those. But I'm not taking my extra fiat and putting it into more Tether, right? I'm putting it into Bitcoin, Litecoin. I like QE coin because, they're doing something with real world assets. And that's huge. So anything that has utility, we talked about this in the last couple episodes, I'm getting away from just meme coins and anything that's a P&D, a pump and dump kind of operation, because you can see just by where the money's flowing, right? If it's flowing into privacy, then people are understanding that it has to do something, right? If it's not doing anything, like I tell people, if I'm doing serious, teaching to anyone about crypto, if it just has two circles, right? If we're making a Venn diagram on the imaginary whiteboard and one circle's the exchange and the other circle is traders, well, it's, it doesn't have a really blossoming ecosystem like Bitcoin. If we take Bitcoin, and make a Venn diagram, guess what happens? We get the flower of life, right? Yeah. Even if you do that with Ethereum, it has way more circles in their ecosystem. Even though I'm not a huge ETH fanboy anymore, it's still, there's a lot of people use it, right? And so on and so forth. There is a handful of cryptos out there. Speaking which, perfect segue to pull up. I had an article from just the other day. Here it is. Oh, wow. It's a video. Do they have a little video about it? Or is that just an ad over? Yeah, I think it's just an ad, because when I go down, it skips right over it. But let's that little ad and key takeaway. Right. I've been saying for months that these are the signals that we're looking for. So clearly, the bigger old school banks are letting you know their bags are packed, y'all. Goldman Sachs has filed that, let people know that they are holding over $2 billion in crypto exposure through the ETFs. It says no direct holdings of tokens, but they do have invested $2.36 billion. This is nothing to sneeze at. So what does this indicate to us? All right. What does this indicate to me, Nick, everyone out there? The Clarity Act has to get passed, right? We've been saying for some time that all of these exchanges are going to keep playing the Bitcoin slide game until the government says you can't do this anymore, right? All this wash trading, all this thereby, like we've showed like actual transactions, right? Where it's Coinbase, Binance, all these exchanges are buying several thousand to 10,000 Bitcoin, and then it goes up 20K and they go sell. And then they're doing this on the open market. They could be doing this, privately and stabilizing the price, but they're not, right? Why is that? Because they want to stack as much Tether and USDC that they can. So as Bitcoin goes down, they get more Bitcoin in more Satoshis per dollar. So they're more than happy to be messing with the markets. But with Goldman, putting out this filing that they are holding all of this, money in the ETFs, and these are spot ETFs. Remind you, they're not claiming the spot. But as you, me, and Nick know, you should be holding spot. Coinbase just went down again today, right? Yep. So surprise, what we've talked about this, right? What happens? They have a hot wallet. Prices are really cheap. People start getting excited, right? Google searches went up the highest on Bitcoin in like 10 years. Literally, I think the last time they were this high was like 2018, 2017. It's almost 10 years, people. So if that's happening, everyone's buying. And then all of a sudden that hot wallet goes and there's nothing left in it. And they're like, oh crap, shut down. And then they go to their cold storage wallet and then they transfer like 5,000 Bitcoin, 10,000 Bitcoin, whatever they have. And they go and they transfer it. But when they make that transfer to their hot wallet, guess what? It's L1. So they're probably using SegWit, so it's not a huge fee. They're not morons. But guess what? It probably takes 15 to 20 minutes for it's totally confirmed, right? So they wait, and then, oh, okay, Coinbase is operational again.
Do you think a lot of those OGs who sold are moving back into the market at these lower prices, or do you think they're just sold out and they still hold so much that they,
I think, let me check my tabs. I think I might have that pulled up in one of my tabs where I wanted to talk about that. Let's please. Oh, here it is. Da-da-da-da. And it is here. Share this tab instead. So literally, look at this chart, dude. This is insane. Yeah. So the whales know something, right? Clearly. Let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah. Awesome. Look at this. The last time it went this high was between 2021 and 2022. Let me zoom back out and I'll zoom in over here, right? We're getting way more of this whale buying right now. So look at this. It looks like the whale buying has peaked. And if that's the case, these candles will still be massive. There's still whales buying on the way down. But I think we're about to be heading into bull territory again, because every time the whales have gone nuts, what happens? Price action up. This is the only time where price went down, but then it did take a few years. What happened? Boom, 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 boom. It went to the all-time high within, what was that, 2022 to 2025. It hit all-time high right back here, but then it went all-time high, back down, all-time high, all-time high, all-time high, and now we're going, and people think the sky is falling. It's like, no, Bitcoin does this all the time. This is just natural, except what's happening now is we've got our enemies are the centralized exchanges, because they will keep playing the Bitcoin slide game. I shared that tweet a few weeks ago where all the ETFs, they're still in the green, right? Like all of them are still holding most of their paper Bitcoin, right?
TCT looks very happy.
Yeah, except who? Except Digital Currency Group, right? They were negative 27 billion from all their ETFs. So what's happening is former Barry and crew, I forget the new CEO's name, but Barry's still pretty, I'm sure, an advisor. Let's be clear. Barry and crew are doing what? They're selling all their actual spot assets on the OTC. They're doing it nicely, right? So they're not messing with the markets. But then here comes Coinbase, Deribit, all these centralized exchanges. Oh, Bitcoin's at 60K. Scoop, scoop, scoop. What did it do? It went to 72 or 71 and some change. Up, sell. And like, come on, man. Come on, guys. And until we get the Clarity Act passed, I don't think we're gonna, see this stop happening for another month or two. Go ahead. Sorry.
And this is not, of course, financial advice for the people listening, but how low do you think we go? Or do you think the bottom is already in? Or do you have like, who cares?
Well, I want to preface that with another something I want to look at before that, where we talked about rotation, right? And I think we're starting to see the rotation happen, right? Let me just pull up a chart of gold, because gold had, even though it's still in the green for a zoom out, which is always healthy to do, I tell people. If you look, obviously on the daily, it's not too healthy, right? It's down 2% on the daily. And this looks like a horrible chart. But even if you zoom out to let's zoom out to a 1-year chart, you can see something's going out, right? Something's going on here. Let's just do a 1-year chart. Oh wait, no, it wasn't. I had it pulled up, and of course, TradingView had to, time out and then refresh. Thanks, guys. Love that feature. Not. I had a better chart. I forget if it was the 1-year or the 5-year. Hold on, let me pull up the 10-year. No, I think it was the 1-year. You can see on this, let's just take a look at the 1-year. It hit like close to 5,500, 54.18. It looks like January 27th of this year. And that was like close to its all-time high. I'm sure on some other charts it went to 55. Matty said just the other day it went to I think 56. Hold up, I'm just gonna let my dog out because I think he has to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
No problem. Yeah, I do know that I sold my gold and silver a bit too quick, which was a shame because I would have made a lot of money.
But yeah, I think it, it again, if you look at this chart, you can see it hit 50, it really broke market structure right here, right? You can see like here's the line in the sand, it went below that line, right? That's a very easy take on it, but you can see it went down to 4,661, and then these are the bear traps, right? Like the market's trying to recover. Here's the double top that scared me right in here, right? It hit 50, almost 51. Then it just the other day, it hit close to that again. And now, boom, 49. And like I said, if you zoom out, it looks fine, but it looks like we have a massive bear flag forming, right? You can see that just without me pointing it out, right? It looks not too healthy. And on the daily, it looks scary, right? It looked like we got in the down elevator real fast. It hit.
And a lot of people, a lot of institutions and groups that are in gold are, of course, also in Bitcoin. The biggest one being Tether itself.
Oh yeah, and again, Binance just activated commodities spot trading on their exchange as well. So that it's a little payback from the digital markets to the traditional markets. Like J.P. Morgan with their silver shorts and all the paper gold that's been around for years. The spot traders, yes, you made out, but unless you're deep in those markets like Peter Schiff, you couldn't exit a lot of those positions, right? You were lucky if you could sell a gram or two, and if you sold a few ounces, maybe, but you're not selling kilograms, right? They're like, oh yeah, sure, you 30% discount. You're like, what? F you. This is why I buy this stuff, because I want like if you're giving 10 it, that's fair. You're still making money. You're near tops. When they're telling you it's a 30% spread, no, that means it's over, right? Like, let's be clear. That's a signal from the spot dealers. They're like, we're not going to give you parity. We're going to give you something way below because we think it's in toppy territory. And just looking at this chart right here, you can see it's not looking good. Even though it's just a daily, it's not looking good. Even in the 1 year chart, that massive bear flag is forming. It's now people, and I think we shared, I don't know if I shared it last episode, but Lawrence Leopard, what did he say? Oh yeah, I'm moving my gold into Bitcoin. And that's Lawrence Leopard, y'all. So any other gold people that understand Bitcoin did the same thing, right? Because Bitcoin is the most liquid money ever created. People say it's not liquid. You're tripping, right? You can literally put like a couple $1 billion on a stick drive. If you're really smart, you can just memorize your seed phrase, right? And you can, no one's stopping you, right? With a stick drive. It's just not happening. You try and smuggle a gold bar in your briefcase or your suitcase. Yeah, you're getting stopped, and then you're going probably getting fined and going in front of a judge. If it's a Western country, within a few days. If it's not a Western country, a few weeks or months, right? And your stuff's getting confiscated. Either one of those scenarios. So this is why Bitcoin's the revolution. Bitcoin's the revolution. Bitcoin's the revolution, right? It's here to save us from their dumb ass money debasement, their stupidity in their whole 2% inflation target, which we said they'd move the goalpost. And then we showed that tweet from the, the Federal Reserve manager that's buying all this gold. Yeah, we moved it to 6% now. Oh, so now our money's going to go like this faster, right? If 2% is not the target, you moved it up 4%. Well, when we're on the backside of that slope, that's why a lot of Americans are like, oh, I just bought all these groceries. It's like $100 and they have like nothing. First off, this is one of the biggest problems with young Americans. And this is not a diss. I'm just trying to convey this to them, right? You should be saving in Bitcoin. It's the revolution. It fights this stupid inflation, right? The other thing is, don't be loyal to your old supermarket, right? There are supermarkets that do way better trading on the back end of their system, right? Like Winco, it's literally owned, employee owned. And I'm pretty sure, I haven't done massive research on this. Most of their buyers don't buy on the margin. They buy in cash. So since they've been buying cash, what does that mean? They get better deals. So you see their prices 1 week, their prices could be like 50 cents up. And you're like, yeah, you're kind of mad. But you come back like a couple days later and that same item, it's like, it could be $1 cheaper. And you're like, what? How do they do that? And it's because their buyers are always buying cash on the barrel. So they're getting their products at a cheaper rate. And guess what? You as a consumer, like I just went there last night and I only had 2 things on my list. I bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I bought like almost a dozen items and it was like $25.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anywhere else in the country, you could go to like even Trader Joe's or whatever. That's going to cost you 30, 40 bucks.
At least.
You have to be thinking, don't be loyal to Trader Joe's just because they have all your items that you like. You have to be loyal to your pocketbook, right? Your purse, your wallet, because you have to feed your family, right? Not anybody else. You have to feed your family and you got to save those dollars. Ken, go ahead. Sorry.
I think people will wisen up quickly. I also wanted to say one more thing, which I forgot when we were talking about gold, and we're talking about gold right now again. But when you sort of also in connection with the CBDCs that we talked about before, and this sort of control state and the devaluation of your purchasing power, right? You can have all the gold in the world, and then if you're Peter Schiff, your purchasing power is protected. But it won't save you from a digital prison system with CBDCs. But Bitcoin will.
And it won't help you in hyperinflationary times either, right? I saw this tweet a couple of days ago. I wish I would have saved it. But it was somebody in Argentina, right? Like all these people hoarded gold right before the money collapsed, right? Their paper money collapsed. And during those times, the people that held gold, they were at SOL, right? Like it was people that had hard goods, right? The guy talked about he had all these lighters and he figured out that he could refill lighters with this gas tank that he had. And he was, people were giving him gold bars for just a Bic lighter because they could do what? They could light a fire, cook food, heat their house, et cetera, et cetera. And that Bic lighter became way more valuable than gold. And that's why Bitcoin is so more valuable than anything else, because it can move so quickly from point A to point B and be stored so easily.
But also imagine, like, with the current situation that, look in China, right? They have capital controls on everything. How are you going to move your gold from point A to B? With Bitcoin, you just have to memorize your seed phrase and you're good to go, right? But how can you move your gold, unless you already have it digitized in some form, but then you run into the CBDC system again. So gold is nice, plus it will be an industrial metal pretty soon, right? I mean, look at silver. So I think gold is just like a very short. Hey, we lost you there, Gerald.
About this.
I guess I shouldn't talk crap about gold, because otherwise we get kicked out.
Yeah, again, it's one of those things. It's like, look,
I do like gold. I mean, it's nice and shiny.
Yeah, there's always going to be people that think the hard gold and silver are great until, like we just talked about, you try and exit these positions and your $100,000 position is now $70K, and it's not fair to you. When it happens with Bitcoin, I see people complaining when it happens with Bitcoin, and all right, maybe I shouldn't say his name.
Yeah.
I like his tweets, so I won't mention his name. But
McLeod.
What's that?
McLeod.
Oh, did they really boot us?
No. I mean, the McLeod, he's a gold bug, and he made this sort of a tweet or post about that somebody lost everything because he went into Bitcoin or crypto or whatever, and then Alistair McLeod made sort of a comment like, yeah, this is what happens when you invest into a tulip bubble, and it goes to it's initial, its value of zero of you know, whatever crap he was spewing. But then I found another post out there from somebody else who lost everything because he invested in gold, and gold did like this. You know? So
Yeah. So I was gonna play his video and then wrap it up. But since you brought it up, and I've been talking about this too, way ahead of all the financial analysts out there and all the commodities analysts, that all of this is because of, you know, China, and there's only a few people that have been calling them out. But I've been one of them. And here's the article, right? I just pulled it up. I had this video pulled up, but let me share this one instead. But here's the headline, obviously stupid ad. Chinese speculators set the stage for gold and silver crash, right? So, in the history of the silver market, prices had traded above 40 an ounce for only a handful of brief periods. For last year, on Friday, exhausted traders watched in shock as the precious metal plunged by that much in less than 20 hours. For weeks, traders across metals have spent their nights glued to screens. Where's the part where I thought this one would have it in there? Anyway, there was literally, they shut down. There was like this market. I don't know if it was like a spot trader or dealer, but it was a heavy, huge silver dealer, and it was like all over the news. They shut down. All these people wanted to, you know, come sell their silver, and they're like, nope. And again, this is just proving my point. China's been hoarding all this gold, and at the same time, what have they been doing? They've been selling all this fake gold on the market. Not saying the government is, but the government isn't like cracking down on these people selling fake gold bars. And these fake gold bars are everywhere.
And to be honest, like, you know, the Chinese
stacking gold because it's not a safe market. Go ahead. Sorry.
The Chinese government is everywhere, right? I mean, you know, what is not the Chinese government in China, right?
Oh yeah, they got their hands in everything. They're not stupid. I mean, seriously, they're smart people. But I'm going to pull that up too, because it's not like I'm not being, you know, speculative here. These are facts, right? Fake Chinese gold. Yeah, I just want to find something that's not more than like a couple years old. Let's see. Yeah, this is only like 2 years old, right? So this is from May of 2024. Share this tab. Yes, I agree to your cookies. Oh my gosh. Share this tab instead. Yeah, so China has a fake gold problem. Locals are getting scammed into buying artificial jewelry. So this is jewelry now. Another ad, sorry. Oh my gosh. This is why the Web 2.0 sucks, right? Like literally every time you go down like any avenue, it's like ad. Web3 stops all that, right? Oh, you want to put that ad up? It costs you this many sats, costs you this many lits, it costs you this much gas. Whatever the case may be, it's cost prohibitive. So we don't have unlimited ads.
The Brave browser who pays you if you sort of watch ads.
Yes. What's funny is I literally customer the other day was looking at some, I think it was yesterday, I was looking at some sofas, and she had her son's phone, and it literally Brave browser. So again, the crypto revolution is happening, but Bitcoin is always going to remain the king of the revolution. So that's why you should always have sats, right? Be stacking sats. It is the best digital savings account ever invented / discovered in the history of the world. Let's get back to that video, because this is what I've been talking about literally since 21 or 22. And now here is Van Eck, Matthew Siegel, head of digital assets at Van Eck, spilling the news, because guess what? All of these countries almost have their bags packed, right? Why would you be spilling all this information? Why would Goldman be saying, oh yeah, we have all these ETFs? A, they have to legally, but B, because they're done, right? They're done buying whatever they're buying.
When they're still buying, they say it's red poison, and you know, it's
exactly. And now they have to put it on their balance sheet and record it with the SEC. So here is, like I said, let me share this tab. Here's Matthew Siegel saying what I've been saying for several years now. Multiple countries are doing what? Mining Bitcoin.
Oh, there's no sound for some reason.
Oh, really?
No, weird.
I've got sound. Let's try that again.
Oh yeah. Oh, huh?
I'll start it over because it's only a really short clip.
No, I don't hear anything. It's weird.
Really?
Yeah, I can see you have the sound on, so I'm not sure what's causing it.
This has got to be a bug with that split view thing. All right, I'm going to
Maybe
turn it off.
that-
I'm going to hit play. It's muted.
No, I can't wait.
Nothing still?
I can't hear it now.
All right. I'm going to hit, I'm going to refresh. Oh, crap. It's on the same tab. Sorry.
Sorry. No, there was no sound, so.
Yeah.
Because the other one, the one from Chamath and CC, it did work.
Yeah, you heard that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Are you good? Could you hear that him just there?
No?
Really?
Weird. But I'm gonna.
All right, I'm gonna try and break them apart.
Just play it.
All right, give me a sec. I'm going back. Share this.
Maybe it's super soft. Could that be the case?
Is it you? Are you hearing now?
Wait.
That are mining Bitcoin
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
central government.
All right.
Portion of that energy towards mining Bitcoin, which gives them some sovereignty over their own printing press. And we now count 13 different countries that are mining Bitcoin at the central government level. Portion of that energy.
So you heard him say is 13 different countries, right, that have recognized that it just makes sense, right? We have all this excess energy, like Paraguay. We did a whole bit on Paraguay and global mining, and Paraguay is not stupid. They see what El Salvador's doing with their volcanoes and geothermal, right? And don't forget, Iceland's got a lot of geothermal. Iceland looking at you, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
And
But
Bhutan
yeah, I
and
mean,
Ethiopia.
oh yeah,
and,
exactly. Bhutan is going to be one of those other countries that's going to be in the G20 in the next, or the G22 or G25, whatever it becomes.
The B2. The B2.
Yeah, the B25. I love it. And it is what it is. I know all these people are going to hate Bitcoin forever. You're just, again, this is sent from God to save us from the debasers, right? The FX markets are slowly starting to like collapse in on themselves because of what's happening with gold and silver, right? Paper money is slowly failing, and all the markets like Iran, like the Real, like all these countries that are a couple steps away from the dollar, their paper money is going to collapse first. And we already seen this time and time again. Oh yeah, let's not forget about Venezuela. Maduro's gone. Here's the new president. Let's hear what she has to say.
To have other people understand, the huge potential Venezuela has, not only for Bitcoin, because this is something we didn't have the chance to speak today, probably not another opportunity, but Venezuela could be the biggest energy hub of the hemisphere. Mm-hmm. And imagine a country with this potential, what could do in terms of getting Bitcoin to be a trade and reserve currency because of transactions with a commodity such as oil and gas and other energy. So look, we need to raise our voices. And sometimes I feel like, you know, the world doesn't understand or doesn't care for what's going on here. And today, more than ever, we need your support.
Yeah, and again, this is just the cat's out of the bag, right? We've talked about this is coming for many years. Capital goods will start being bought with Bitcoin. Yeah, Shakira's in El Salvador learning about Bitcoin. Why? Because Bitcoin makes money easy. And she is, FYI, wanted by the IRS, right? So she doesn't, she's learning about a new technology to protect her hard-earned money. And you know, even though, you know, I'm not anti-IRS, I'm, you know, anti-income tax, right? I've said this for many moons. I think that we should have a whole bunch of taxes in the books. I still believe in fuel tax and sin taxes and tobacco tax and alcohol tax, sales tax. All these other taxes are totally necessary. But we need to start learning to manage this money better. And Bitcoin forces you to do that, right? You start to force yourself to learn how to get the cheapest energy. And then everything else starts to fall into place because you're literally not waste. You're like, we got to utilize every penny. We got to figure this out. We got to figure this out. We can't waste this money on this. We got to get more ASICs, right? And it does become a power game, but everything becomes a power game, right? Energy has been on a hockey stick chart since the early 1900s when Tesla and Edison had their wars for DC versus AC. And what happened? Oh, both become vital for the future, right? Your phones, electric cars. If you want to move huge energy swaths from point A to point B, we need AC. So they were both right? And that's the point is, but we are going to continue to be utilizing energy because we're an energy intensive society. We have been since the beginning. Go ahead.
Did you see, speaking about energy, did you see the news that dropped today about Russia and America, you know, moving closer together on the energy front?
Yeah, and again, it all starts to dissolve these insane ideas of mutual assured destruction, right? So my degree is in political science, if most people aren't aware. And yes, I've been in classrooms where we've discussed, you know, thermonuclear devices, etc. And for many years, from, you know, the early 60s to, I would say, the early 90s, these things still made 0.5%, maybe 1% insane use case, right? Now they don't, right? They have zero use case now, because if any one of these nation states uses one, you destroy that country's economy and then their neighbors, all their neighbors' economies, right? And if you're there, like only 2 nation states away, it screws up your economy, right? Because it creates this huge electromagnetic pulse and that just wipes everything out in the region that's not hardened for, you know, with a Faraday cage or some type of EMP hardening technology. And this is now, and Putin starting to realize, and Trump already knows, that Bitcoin, right? There was a country, we couldn't find the tweet, but there was a country just a couple of days ago, somebody posted up, I think it was Romania or one of these Eastern European countries, where if they would have just held on to when Bitcoin was close to 100 or a little over 100, they'd wipe out their whole debt, right? And so some of these smaller countries are doing that, right? Bhutan is going to do that. El Salvador is going to do that. And the day they erase their debt to the IMF completely, all of that stuff looks like clown games, right? Which it is. And if you want to be a part of the revolution, if you, again, you don't like what Trump says, you don't like the crazy crap you see in the Epstein files, you should be praying. That's one thing you should be doing, because it is a spiritual battle, right? That's, you know, partially your fault and my fault, especially the people that saw this stuff and don't call it out, right? Like that's really their fault too. But you should be praying, but you should be stacking sats, because that is everything contrary to what they want you to believe, right? The whole Epstein files is connected to this is a big scam, right? They don't want you to get into this because this files, right? This beats, oh, there it is. Bulgaria sold 213 4,500 Bitcoin in 2017, that would erase their entire national debt. This is why Bitcoin was sent. It was sent to save us from the money printer, right? Burr. That's their only plan. Remember that. And you know, Bitcoin is the only thing that can save you. Sorry, go ahead.
Speaking about the revolution, right? Because in an important way, or in many ways, debt is slavery, right? So if you're freed from debt, you're basically, you know, it's basically a revolution. You're free. You're a free man or country or
yeah, you're a free nation state at that point. You're debt free to all the powers that be, and that scares the IMF. That's why do you think the euro is still so anti-Bitcoin? Because they're literally in bed with the WEF 100%, and they know that if they can't get their digital euro launched quick enough, that all their silly games fall in their face, and they don't maintain their hegemony on power, their hegemony on money, their hegemony on the pharmaceutical industries, the hegemony on political power, etc. And that scares the crap out of them. I'm glad that some people are being outraged by what they see in the Epstein files. If you're not buying Bitcoin because of that, you're missing the whole point. They're going to keep printing dollars. Nobody can print this stuff. This steals their power at every level, steals their power away from them. That's why the Eurozone's so scared crapless of Bitcoin, because they don't get it. They don't get why people would use it. They don't think it even has use cases. I was like, we did a whole show. What, you don't understand how thermodynamics works? Like, you're the Eurozone. Like, you people are like Italy and Germany, like some of the best scientists, artists, engineers ever created. The fact that Germany's been anti-Bitcoin for this long, and they've the masters of cryptography, is mind-boggling. Go ahead. Sorry.
The mindset of Europe is, you need the bigger states. The state is going to solve all your problems, right? And if you release Bitcoin, what happens to the state? It becomes smaller, smaller.
Yeah, and that scares the crap out of
mindset.
I might lose my cushy job to Bitcoin. Yeah, well, guess what? You won't be the last person. But it is the future of finance. And every time Christine Lagarde opens her silly mouth and says these silly things, she's just kicking the can down the road. And once the digital euro launches, she's going to be like, oh, yeah, you're screwed. Have a great day. Oh, yeah, I didn't pull that one up. That was an article I wanted to share that I've been warning about for years and years, why I don't mess around with Discord, right? I think here it is. Share this tab. Yeah, I am sharing it. Here it is, right here. It's a little video right here. Let me get it queued up.
I have to. Yeah, there we go.
Discord literally just announced like this morning on February 9th, 2026, that in order for people to maintain full access to their accounts, they're going to need to upload government IDs. And if you don't, then your user account will be set to a teen appropriate setting unless you verify that you're an adult. And the impacts of that are that users that aren't verified as adults will face limitations. They will have access to age-restricted servers and channels get denied, and they'll also encounter content filters, and also DMs from unknown users will get filtered into a separate inbox. That's fucking crazy.
Why am I only seeing men be concerned over an age restriction on an app? It's to protect kids. You know that, right? So that way kids aren't interfering in adult spaces or interacting with adults who may.
Yeah, we get that part. You don't get the part that he's trying to say, that it becomes more panopticon, right? It becomes more 1984, that now you have to show your ID. I think, should there be age restrictions? Of course, but you can do that without IDs. They did it for a lot of the porno sites in America and certain states, have done it in Europe, etc. Yes, there should be age restrictions. And obviously, if you're buying stuff on these sites, yes, there should be then ID restrictions at that point. But IDs coming up, and oh well, yeah, this is why all of these networks are going to suck. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, you also have like a duty as a parent to, look after your kid and teach them,
Yeah,
what is and what
exactly.
isn't allowed. But yeah, each time they try to find a different angle to push digital IDs and CBDCs, to protect your children, to protect the environment, to catch Russian spies, to, yeah,
It's
it's like
it's
fill in the
more
blank.
surveillance is all it is. And again, I get it because there are these wicked weirdos all over the place, especially in the web, um, that are preying on the youth. We haven't
But,
discussed about it even behind the scenes. We haven't discussed about it, but there's this new uh, cult out there called, I think it's 762 or something like that. But they've been around for a couple of years, and it was started by some kid. But this online cult is now super huge, and guess what? They're into the same kind of demonic, worshiping, sacrificing people, and doing evil things to worship the dark forces. And again, I get it. I get why they want these things, and steer clear. This is why I tell people, listen, like we were just saying, you have to be monitoring your kids' stuff. These people are in Minecraft chat rooms. These people are in Telegram. These people are on every damn social network out there. So you have to be mindful of your kids. You should tell your kids, right? Like, this is just basic cyber 101. Like, you only chat with your friends who you know in real life, right? Like, no chatting with people you don't know. Like, that should be rule one. Mommy and daddy have met them. Okay, you can chat with them. We know their parents. We know what they look like, right? And of course, that's going to become a problem with AI spoofing people, right? But that's why you have to be very leery on the Web 2.0, because AI can make anything look real, right? Like we were just told, we can't accept, if we're doing a price match for another company, it has to be live from their website, right? Can't be a picture on your phone, right? Because you could just say, AI, make a picture that shows this sofa at this price point, right? And boom. So we don't even accept pictures as examples anymore. They're linked to their furniture store, and I'm looking at it in real time. So this is real stuff, right? AI slop is now starting to interfere with everything. Look at the Super Bowl. I hated the Super Bowl ads, not because some of them were really creative, but because almost every single one was like AI taxes, AI generated, AI with CGI, like AI. And it was like, if you don't see we're in the AI bubble pop, you're not paying the F attention. Go ahead.
And you also see it like in a lot of Hollywood movies, right? That's like, the older movies are actually often better, once the CGI sort of took over action movies.
Yeah, it's like green
the fun,
screen mania.
it's fun, but it's also, it sort of becomes redundant, and it takes sort of the realness out of the movie, and CGI really, it really grows old very fast. If you look at the CGI from 5 years ago, it looks like crap, let's be honest.
And this
but
is
I also
like,
wanted to
like
say
what Scorsese was saying, right? Like everything's these superhero CGI, like over the top movies. Everything loses its luster because it's like everything's the same, then everything's equal, and then there's no new creative,
it becomes,
whether it's avant-garde or not, there's nobody pushing the limit. Everyone's making a superhero movie, put on the suit, boom, 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 and it's just like,
yeah, because formulaic, and I think, it doesn't push for creativity, right? Because if you have to search for real world solutions to, make something happen that you have in your mind, you have to be way more creative than if I just push this button and then CGI or AI just pushes that, this amazing background or whatever. But I also wanted to say something else with age limit or age protection for children and digital IDs and that kind of stuff, to protect from these sort of Satanist cults out there, right? Who the people at the top that are protecting us from these evil people. We found out what kind of people those are. They're probably even creating those other groups out there for us to be afraid of. in the first place, right? So as a
It wouldn't surprise me, you know. Like I guess it was Chris Ryan, and he has that tech guy that's like the best, like one of the best white hat hackers in the world, right? I forget the guy's name. But they were talking about this. Like I watched it a couple months ago, and I was just like, whoa, like this is getting out of control. So if you're not into prayer, I advise you to get into it because it is a spiritual weapon. I said this. I know a lot of people, they saw all that crap. Good on you. But I tell people that aren't even Orthodox or are, you know, they're not Orthodox or Catholic, right? If you're Protestant, Lutheran, whatever, the sign of the cross is not property of the Catholic or Orthodox Church. It's a very powerful prayer. I tell people, and anytime you're feeling uncomfortable, do that sign. And 9 times out of 10, if it is truly evil, it's going to just be keep going on its way because you just coated yourself in a fresh coat of Jesus armor, right? So, and I know that sounds crazy, but I'll just tell a quick story and we'll wrap it on that. Saint Padre Pio, who's one of the greatest saints of the 20th century, and go look him up, see how many miracles that dude has done. It's, and obviously it's all because of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. But Padre Pio, oh crap, what was I just talking about before that?
Well, the miracles and the spiritual warfare, or you know, that we're in spiritual war.
Oh yeah. So Padre Pio said, you know, one time after he was meditating one day, and he saw somebody just do the sign of the cross, and he like saw the spiritual version, and he said even when it was done just like nonchalantly, he said he just saw this new, fresh spiritual protection come over them, even when it was done like just, you know, like just very casually. So I tell people it's like, you know, if you do it with real serious faith and intention, it is like planting a sword from Jesus right in front of you. Like, don't mess with me because I walk with this, the highest spiritual authority. But anyway, we're going to do that show sometime. I'm still trying to get like it all. That one's going to be one of the most complicated shows ever, that Bitcoin was sent by the Lord. But it's true. It is the revolution, right? It's infinite. It's immutable, right? There's so many examples. And again, I'm going to do a whole show on it. I just haven't got to get all this stuff together, shows where it's just like, I go get a couple of, you know, tweets here and there. I got to get biblical references and this, that, and the other thing.
You have to write an article on it. You have to write an article on it.
Yeah, you know what? I'll write an article first, and then it'll be way easy to do the show on it. Good call. I haven't written a good article in a while. That is a great one. Thank you for inspiring me to do that.
Yeah,
but
you should.
Let's thank all of our sponsors. We want to thank Quantum Economics, Shieldfolio, Deorganized Media, and all the shows and the family at Bitcoin Live. Thank you so much, Nick, for being the co-host and my producer, and have a great one. Bitcoin is the revolution. Don't forget it. Get into it.